We're live? Okay. Good afternoon. Would like to call our fire CBA meeting to order. We've got Gus and Susie joining us via Zoom. Present, we have members of our fire CBA, our fire chief, HR, member of our fire department in the stands, if you will, listening in, as well as myself as your city manager and your lead negotiator and liaison in this process. Brief recap is what's brought us here today and what the objective for today is we're here to answer any questions you may have about where we stand in the process, go over a brief timeline of where we'd like to go moving forward. From this point, establish a timeline of what we need to do to get there, and then get this thing ratified and move forward. So if I can provide a brief recap to this point, we've heard your suggestions, your requests, and your guidance. It has been no secret that our fire department has been missing quite a few items and quite a few things that we're working on diligently to do. Your chief has come up with some potential revenue generating initiatives that will help us be more cost neutral, which has allowed us to accept this CBA as such. In addition to with our growing population in the city and the increased call volume, hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to add the additional staff that is going to be necessary to keep up with that rate, the growing rate of calls and obviously people to serve. As it stands now, on Tuesday, the city council passed next year's budget. It does include a match to your request that was made as far as salary compensation and the scale that we talked about. Obviously, as Ms. Susie will probably echo, as you understand, the contract will include the 3 years, but we cannot certify that in the budget yet because we haven't gotten to the year 2 and year 3 yet. But we will obviously take the contract that we're signing now today into consideration as we do that moving forward. Having said that, another part of the contract, second part of the contract, as far as the ask that everybody agreed, was having a cross-departmental ad hoc committee that would serve both fire CBA, police CBA, and city staff would serve on it under my auspice to create some form of mental health, public safety, mental health services that would be available to all public safety staff should the services be needed. And the scope of that is to work as a cross-departmental group in that sense to get to that juncture to where we could put out a scope of services out for services in that nature for both public safety divisions. So the language would be pretty much mirror language as to what would appear in the police CBA. Gus is working on that final draft. That takes us to the recap of where we are, unless there's anything I'm missing. I can proceed. Excellent. So I guess what happens next, for the sake of everybody, is Gus has a preliminary draft of the document that he's working on. He would confirm the financials with our finance department, assuming that the finance and everything is in concurrence. The next step would be to bring that to you for final review. Should you agree, everything be as such, you take that to your governing group, to your constituents. You say one final, yep, you're good with it. If no further meetings are necessary before that, you take that to them. You would essentially ratify it or agree to it. We would just, in line with what we've asked our police department CBA, to try to get that answer to us by no later than Monday the 3rd. So we could be online with our timeline. So if anything has to take place before then, let us know. For example, police CBA has requested for a meeting to take place before that, which we have scheduled for Wednesday the 28th at 9 a.m. So in line with that, if you think you're going to need one, so you understand we have a 72-hour posting period, so we would need to know that pretty much by tomorrow, right, Ms. Patty, the latest? If you think you're going to need that. So what I ask is if you have any questions on that, Susie and Gus, similar to how we did with the last meeting, Does this timeline work for you guys to get what you need to be doing on your end? Does it work for you to be able to get a draft, essentially a final draft for fire to review by this Monday, the 26th, with enough time? Does that work, or do you need more time?
That should work. The one thing I need, and I can get it from Susie, or if Captain Martinez, if you have it readily available, is just the current rates that that the city pays.
Yes,
Because if you recall, what we did the last time was we just said a certain amount percentage, but I don't think we spelled those out. So
Yeah, and
I can send you the current rates.
okay, excellent.
And actually, that's also part of the spreadsheet that we had, the Excel spreadsheet, the last one we had from the last meeting that I shared with everybody.
Yes.
It was on there as well with the percentage breakdown and the scales. It was the same exact way. So if you need, I can resend that as well, because that's the last one we went by. That's what we worked on when it came to budget.
Well, we can have the latest one. I think me and Gus can work it out for Monday. We'll shoot for Monday.
Okay. And basically saying then, if what you have any questions on then, assuming that there's no questions, if you have a question then, depending on what time, the earliest we could schedule a follow-up meeting would be Thursday then at the 72-hour range. So just so we have a sense of the timeline.
Right.
Okay.
And we can always schedule a meeting tentatively if you want.
That's another point. We could always cancel it if it's not needed. Very, very good point. That's at your will.
Okay.
You can decide you want to take a caucus on that. That's no problem.
Actually, yeah, we would
Okay.
on the dates, just so that, because we're not trying to drag it out either. You know, obviously we're trying to get this.
This is your call.
It would, yeah, I'd definitely make a few phone calls. We want to have our process that we have to follow by our own rules of
Certainly.
the time frame of notice and people to read it, and then to actually call a meeting and vote and make sure that everyone's going to show up, you know, those kind of things. So
Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a brief moment to break, if you don't mind.
sure.
So you guys can have that discussion.
Okay.
Let us know if the timeline needs to be different on our end.
Okay.
We will take the time to internalize our deadline. Check our calendars as well,
Okay.
because if such, we already have a commitment for 9 o'clock on Wednesday. We probably do it after that as to not interfere with things, if it's possible, right? If it's possible to do that, and that'll be a tentative meeting, assuming that there's anything else you need to discuss once you get the final draft on Monday, the 26th. Okay. And with all due respect, we're gonna probably do police's first, because they've already confirmed their meeting.
Mhm.
You don't know if you're gonna need it yet. Yours will be tentative. So
Right.
we'll do yours probably after theirs, the tentative meeting. Ms. Patty, does that work for you? As far as that timeline? Okay. So if it's okay, we'll go into a very brief recess. How much time do you guys want? 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes, perfect.
All right, so let's announce it now. It is 1:13. Let's go 1:25.
Okay.
12 minutes, if
Works
that's
for me.
okay. All right, is that good for everybody?
Yes.
Susie, does that work for you?
That's fine.
Chief? Good, great. Mr. Mays, if you could take us offline, we'll do a 12-minute recess and we'll reconvene at 1:25. Thank you. Whenever you say we'll go, we're live. Looks like, are we muted? Can you hear us?
No,
Okay, we're good. Okay, great. Good afternoon. We're back after a brief break. We're going to discuss the timeline. During the break, we went ahead and printed the extension that we needed to do to save time. That has been signed by both parties. It is going to be electronically copied, scanned, and documented so we can move this forward. Gus, you'll get a copy shortly when we get that done, so we can move from there. Questions, comments after the break?
We would get a copy of the draft from Gus Monday,
You would get it Monday,
and then,
as early as we can on Monday, because like I said, I want to give them enough time to figure the other one out, because it's got more language in yours.
yeah, and Captain Martinez, I'm working on it right now, just so you know what I'm doing. Your agreement was in better shape than the police department's. But what has happened through no fault of anyone's is that these CBAs have become a mishmash of prints and scans and conversions and all of that. So what's been done is what you will receive from me is a Word document where the formatting is all consistent, minus the pay stuff. Obviously, that's the most important. I'm still finalizing those numbers, but that way you and your union can start your review. And for your convenience, I'll attach the old version as well for comparison's sake.
okay. And then, the 28th is when we would, hopefully, our end will be completed. We can come back with,
Should you need to? Should you have any changes? If you don't have any changes, essentially, there's no reason for us to meet. You can take that directly to your constituent for final review.
Okay.
And then we could tentatively set the meeting, and should we not need it, cancel it. We can set the date. That was great thought to set it just in case, should you have any further discussion.
okay.
And
So,
then you can go
and
from
then
there.
that date would be
If it fits your schedule, the 28th.
the
If it
28th. Yes,
does.
that does.
Could we do like, is there any chance early in the morning, early like 8?
I have no objection. I don't personally, but I can't speak for everybody's schedule.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
fine.
I can't speak to anything different.
The earlier
Again,
the better.
it's should you need
Should we
to,
need it? Yeah. Should
I have
we?
no problem.
Okay,
Right. And if we have no problem,
then we should be.
then the next meeting
Right,
would
you
then
guys
be-
are gonna take what Gus sends you
Mhm.
to the group.
Right.
Okay,
If y'all agree with it as it is,
Mhm.
the 28th is not needed for y'all.
okay.
Then it goes for approval.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
If,
yeah.
if the
Yeah.
only reason for us, the reason police is
Okay.
meeting on the 20th, because we know there's gonna be discussion.
Right.
We've already documented there's gonna be a follow-up discussion, clear the air,
Cool.
make sure we're good.
Okay.
If we can go ahead and set it for the 28th at 8 AM, just in case, I would probably be able to give notice the day before, whether it's gonna be needed or not.
Again, I have no problem. with that.
Okay.
It's easier to cancel it than it is
Yes,
to try to.
yeah,
schedule it.
absolutely.
And the reason for that is there's a posting period that has to occur. It's gotta be posted 72 hours in advance. So
Right.
we want to make sure we adhere to that.
Right, and then that window just actually works for us as well.
Yeah.
So as to get everybody together, get everybody informed for a vote. So,
That's fine.
Yeah.
And again, for you in your cases, then you got until that Monday, the 3rd of October to get that final, hey, we're good with this.
okay,
Here's our signed copy. We agreed to it in principle, assuming that you agreed to it.
okay.
And then
So-
I would sign that once council
So the
approves.
28th, if it's not needed, then the 3rd is the next.
Well, the 3rd is your next deadline.
Right.
Then we formally pass it on the 10th.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Any further questions or discussion?
No, sir.
Any-
Okay, anything else? I think, see Miss Patty's walked out. So you know, it's a very general consensus. It is in line with what we're doing with police, so that we could be a mutual cross-departmental force when it comes to that. Okay.
Absolutely.
You got anything? Nope. I see Miss Patty's walking in the room. Miss Patty, do you have anything? Nope. Susie, do you have anything that you would like to add?
No,
No? Okay, so we got the timeline to work with your schedule.
yeah, that's,
Okay. If they work for you, Gus, they work for you.
It does.
Great. We're all on the same page. If nothing further, we can move to adjourn this meeting. with the understanding that you're gonna have the document to review, hopefully, by Monday, so you have enough time to review it. And should you need the meeting for Wednesday, we can confirm it or cancel it before it takes place, scheduled for tentatively 8 AM on the 28th. Deadline for you to get us final response, should you need that long, I don't know that you would be Monday, October 3rd, so we can get it formally added to the agenda for the October 10th meeting. All right, any
Yep.
questions?
No, sir.
All right, I move to adjourn this meeting. Thank you. Mr. Mays, we've concluded. Thank you, sir.